So today I'm taking a sick day from work, and I'm laying in bed, and I'm browsing across social media, on Facebook in particular, and I see my personal friend, Chanel. She's been going viral recently due to her experience trying to navigate her life as a black woman in the LDS Church. The reason I find making this video is so vital is because, like Chanel, I used to go to this church, but I don't any longer. And as a matter of fact, in 2012, I excommunicated myself from the church due to several reasons. The main reason was the church's participation by proxy in Proposition 8. This was the law in the first decade of the 21st century that got passed that oppressed gay people's rights into getting married. And then I started hearing crazy stuff like baptisms for the dead being done on people like Adolf Hitler. And then I read they're doing it on Anne Frank too. Doesn't make any sense. So, at 25 years old, after spending my first 16 years of my life in denial about being gay at 25 years old, I finally decided to pull the trigger and self-resign from the church. Now, back to Chanel and her going viral. In my findings on YouTube, I have come across this channel I'm not even going to advertise or give mentioning to, but basically, it's a channel ran by a man of color, and they're basically incredibly cynical, at least he is, and his commenters are, and have no empathy regarding Chanel's experience and what she's had to endure. What makes me even more upset is that these people, like Chanel, are people of color. So I have to ask, when someone's life turns upside down, aren't you supposed to be there to help pick the person up instead of doing victim blaming? Just saying. So let me tell you a little bit about my experience. I was born and raised into this church and brainwashed into their doctrine. I was told growing up to believe in anything else that the church taught. Believing in other religions, other prophets, or not believing in the Mormon Church at all was a sin. Being born and raised in this church, basically your entire neighborhood, your community, and all are also are church members. And if you were to move into one of these neighborhoods, not as a Mormon, there's an incredibly high likelihood a good amount of your neighbors wouldn't want to associate with you since you are not a Mormon, or they would come about trying to convert you. In fact, when I was inactive and no longer in denial about being gay, I was approached by Mormon missionaries trying to convert me back. I turned 36 years old in April, which makes it more than 10 years now that I've been excommunicated from this church, self-excommunicated, and let me tell you, freeing myself of all of this nonsense that the church has caused me during nearly my entire existence, and it still bothers me to this day when they do semi-annual conferences and talk so illy about the LGBTQ community. It's just what they've done to me and Chanel. It's cruel, it's unacceptable, it's inhumane, and what is going on with Chanel absolutely deserves the media attention it's getting, and no person in this church should be telling people, based on their skin color, that they should have to procreate with people that are of their same skin color as well, because of them being black, their seed is cursed. I've been compared to a pedophile before by church members simply because I identify as gay. Ironically, when I look at my situation and I look at Chanel's, I find hers to be much worse than what I've experienced. And I'm not invalidating my experience at the same time, but as a white man, racism is a hard line I draw for anyone and everyone. And if there's any question on whose side I'm on, try coming into my home and try using racial slurs. You'll see your ass kicked out of this house pretty goddamn quick. So some advice to people out there. Stop putting down others who are struggling. Stop putting down people who have experienced trauma and want to share it. Stop being pricks. At this point, the Mormon Church's saying, or their motto of love one another, is just an oxymoron. So it's our job as people to love one another. And to continue to remain cynical, victim blame, or just say, oh, hey, this person just wanted the spotlight. No. I tried doing something similar to what Chanel did 10 years ago by going very public on my experience with the LDS Church, only to find I was unable to handle the heat because there's too many goddamn cynical people out there. Have some fucking empathy. That's all I have to say.